Oh boy, how to condense this story? Because there's if I condense it, it's going to make it sound like it happened within a time frame of about 4 years, but it's much longer than that.
Yeah. Okay.
I was in the Teepee back in 1997, 98, early 2000, somewhere in there. I went through a phase of my life where I was discovering spirituality and, different kinds of spiritual practices. And I also discovered music at the same time. So I was really into the didgeridoo and Aboriginal culture, as well as Native American music, and got into a community where we were doing sweat lodges and sun dances and drum dances and all that. I became the songholder for the sweat lodge community. So I was the one singing in the sweat lodge and stuff and drumming and all that, and just really got into it. Moved into a teepee and I just went through an uncomfortable phase where I got so deep into Native American culture and studying with Native American shamans that I wanted to become a Native American, as silly as that sounds from where I'm sitting right now. But and I still have a deep connection with that community, but now it comes out differently. I want to help them as much as I can, and that's a whole other story. But so I sold everything I owned, which included a very expensive, one of the very first full suspension mountain bikes when they first came out. I bought one for $3,000 or $4,000, had that for a while, and then sold it. And then that was the main thing that allowed me to buy the teepee. I just gave everything I owned away. Possessions were gone. You can't fit much in a teepee anyway. So put it up in the mountains of Boulder in a little town called Gold Hill, and proceeded to struggle. living at 8,500 feet through a winter in a teepee, not a smart idea. No running water, no electricity, and you're living in a tent basically. And the winds get intense up there. The jet stream just sits on top of Gold Hill in the winter, right? So I'm freezing my ass off with a foot of blankets on top of me. I wake up in the morning, there's icicles hanging down off the blankets from my breath that turns into icicles. It was nuts. The bottom line of this part of the story where I began was that I was living on $7,000 a year. That's below poverty level. So it was hard and I was struggling. I didn't know how to make money. That's where it came from. I was in a period where it appealed to me to be an Australian Aboriginal, just to be able to live off the land. And so I learned survival skills. I learned Native American survival skills. And you could basically drop me in the woods with a knife and I'd be fine. I could hunt animals, trap them, turn their skin into clothing, turn skins into structures. I could build, structures out of wood and leaves, all this stuff. I wanted to get off the grid, right? And because I didn't know how to make money, right? This is the scene of where I began. And I don't want to I'm not going to spend as much time going through all the intermediary steps. Okay. We'll go faster, but I wanted to paint the picture because this is a journey that a lot of people take, not the teepee part, but the from to journey. You're in a place now and you want to get to this other place. Well, the from for me was struggling to survive on $7,000 a year. And I was making that money by selling didgeridoos. I would go out and harvest aspen trees that have a particular kind of fungus that makes the middle of the tree soft, so I could hollow them out and make Aboriginal didgeridoos out of local aspen trees. And I sold them, and I busked on the mall by playing music, put a hat out. So I busked and I sold didgeridoos. That was how I made that $7,000 a year, which is not much. I mean, I'd burn through that in a couple of weeks right now with our current family burn rate. But so I was never taught how to make money growing up. And I just got tossed out into the wild after being on a ski team, and got off the ski team from a bad ski accident and didn't know what to do, and went to college, studied what I wanted to study, and fell in love with learning. And then I graduated myself because I discovered music, right? And I wanted to chase after the music. So after 4 years of college in different colleges and no degree yet, no bachelor's degree, I ejected myself and then went into the teepee, right? So that was what happened in that phase. But I still didn't know how to make money. And the crux of this comes down to there were moments where I was driving around town in my 1974 orange Volkswagen bus, which I loved, looking for a job, right? And I'd come home at night, couldn't find anything, and I would I remember very clearly crumpling on the floor of the teepee and just like, I just lost it. And I just started crying like uncontrollably. And I was out in the woods and nobody could hear me. So I was like just kind of like cry screaming, like there has to be another way. How do I make money? There has to be another way. Like, this is too hard. I don't understand. Right. So that was one of those moments where I hit bottom really hard. And, that wasn't the only time that I hit like that. There was probably 2 or 3 times where I crashed. It was either on the floor of the teepee, the floor of a cabin that I upgraded to with no running water and no electricity, but it was warmer than a teepee, or the floor of my kitchen somewhere. Like, it's happened 2 or 3 times back in that phase. And I went from, manual labor job working on construction sites to manual labor job digging ditches to manual labor job where I show up on the first day and my job is to get a shovel and finish burying a dead horse. Literally, the first thing I did on that farm was to bury a very large dead horse. Crazy, right? But that's how the only way I can make money was with my muscles. And all the time while I'm building houses, digging ditches, pulling weeds, like all these jobs, like using my physical body, all I wanted, I always phrase it in my head, like, I want a sit down job. I just want to sit down. You're on a construction site, you get reprimanded for sitting down. It's not okay in that culture. I remember like building an adobe house and I was sitting down to twist the ties for the concrete forms for the foundation. And the concrete contractor didn't know me, but I was helping him for the day. He yelled at me because I sat down for 2 minutes to twist ties instead of squat down to do it. So they don't appreciate that at all because it makes you look lazy. But I wanted a sit down job. I wanted to use my mind. I knew that I had capacity. And so I went from all these manual labor jobs to, I read some books by a philosopher named Ken Wilber multiple times. And I became like really well versed in his theory. And long story short, I eventually got hired by his institute. It was called the Integral Institute. I think they're still around. And I became his associate editor of his academic journal. That was my very first job making money from using my mind. And I was in heaven, even though I was making $11 an hour. Like, so happy to be sitting in an office chair at a computer, working with knowledge and concepts. I became one of his top students. And then I got hired by a tech startup who wanted to use his theory to implement it into their virtual reality user interface. That pulled me into the tech industry. From the tech industry, I figured out how to build websites. We got pregnant, moved back to Boulder. I needed a way to make money. Started my very first business building websites on Joomla, then transitioned to WordPress. So I was like a freelancer building WordPress websites. And I was like, you know what? Like, I could make more money by teaching people how to do this rather than implementing the websites, like building them myself, right? Got hired by a company that sold themes for Joomla to create a university. That was my very first online course. It made like $200,000 in the first year. That wasn't all from me. I ran the thing by myself, my own little department. They had a crap ton of traffic coming in. So that was like, you put those two things together, lots of traffic and a really good course, and someone who's knowledgeable and taking care of people, that made good money. After a while, I was like, I'm giving this company most of the profits when I'm doing everything myself to teach this course. Why should I just go create my own course? So I did. I left them, created Tech Husband, focusing on women entrepreneurs who were having trouble solving the technology problem and building a platform to sell online courses. I'd been studying, this was around 2007, 2012 period, where online courses were becoming the thing, and it really started to take off, but the platforms were difficult to work with back then. Kajabi started in 2007 and their first version was, limited and it didn't do much and it was harder to use. So there was still always this combination of WordPress and MailChimp and Kajabi, or just like, 25 different plugins on WordPress, and people were confused. And I saw them struggling with it. I'm like, I can help you guys. And I was really passionate about helping women entrepreneurs. So I created this thing called Tech Husband, created a course to teach them how to build the entire platform, step-by-step video tutorials, how to build a WordPress site, how to use MailChimp, how to use a plugin to sell online courses, how to handle all the payment processing. It was a very manual process, but it was the duct tape model where you use WordPress and you tie things to it. You get this kind of monster at the end that doesn't always function very well. That's where I got started with the online course stuff. And then over a while, over a period of time, I started getting more guys coming with the business branded as Tech Husband. It got a little uncomfortable because a lot of them were cracking jokes. So they're like, so we're gonna go on a date now? Like, like no. It's just my branding and whatever. Like, so I had to change the business name, which is what Clarity Lab came from, and then started focusing on doing software reviews. Started getting a lot of success with affiliate revenue, consulting and affiliate revenue, software reviews. Had online courses throughout there. Still have the Kajabi course up, which is on my site now. Link will drop a link to that later on, and we can talk about that later. But and so that's and the affiliate revenue is what led to the Tesla. Kajabi has a very generous gamified level plan where the more referrals you bring them, the bigger the prizes get, and at some certain level they give you a car. So it's not like a car just shows up at your house. You have to go buy it, and then they pay for the monthly payment. So but still, like,
so
I'm telling you, man, like, let me just connect the from and the to. To this day, when I walk up to the garage and I see the Tesla, every time I get in it, I'm like, oh my God, I did this. And I connect, if I think back to where I was when I crashed on the floor in the Teepee, just in a ball of tears of like, there has to be another way, right? That is the full journey of like, oh my God, like, I'm now helping people sell their knowledge. And I did this thing, and now there's this car here, like my dream car, right? And I'm not a big flashy guy, and I'm not aiming towards a Lamborghini. I just like, this is the most amazing car I've ever owned. And I've wanted to have an electric car since I was 10 years old, like dreaming of having an electric car plugged into solar panels before that was even a thing. So I finally did it, and like, I'm stunned because I'm like, inside I'm still that guy who loves Native American culture and doesn't know how to make money. Like, there's that's still part of me. That's part of my past. So that was the arc of my journey. I don't know if I don't feel comfortable calling it a hero's journey because I don't see myself as a hero, but like, if you look at Joseph Campbell's hero's journey structure, it does follow a similar pattern. Like, I went through all the phases, and I'm in the phase now where I'm kind of coming back to the world and bringing the gifts of knowledge that I gained on my challenges, so that's where I am. I'll pause there.